Ethan Rosati came home 3 hours early, with white roses in one hand, and found his housekeeper on her knees beneath the woman he planned to marry. Lucy Marino hit his chest before the guards could stop her. "Please save my mom." Vanessa Coletti stood above Kate with an empty water pitcher, while Kate's hair clung wetly to her cheeks and her bruised wrist trembled beside shattered porcelain. "She was stealing," Vanessa said. "She's staff. She panicked." Kate lifted her chin. "Then ask why your fiancée has the chapel key in her hand." Ethan's gaze dropped. A bronze key hung from white thread between Vanessa's fingers. Kate pointed toward the service door. "And those lilies weren't approved. Florists use floor covers in that corridor." "There aren't any. Someone moved flowers through your house without using the service dock." Jonah Pike turned toward the hall. Ethan did something none of his men expected. He stopped security from moving, stopped Vanessa from speaking, and looked at Kate. "What do you need?" The question changed the room. "Nothing touched," Kate said. "Not the key, not the flowers, not the tray." Ethan let the roses fall onto the marble. "Do it her way." 36 hours earlier, Kate Marino had known something was wrong because the wedding linens had been signed out by a florist. 36 hours earlier, Kate Marino knew something was wrong because the wedding linens had been signed out by a florist. Florists asked for vases, clippers, water buckets, and storage space near the cool room. They did not sign for pressed ivory aisle runners, monogrammed napkins, and 12 chair sashes meant for the family chapel. Kate set the clipboard on the laundry counter and checked the service dock log herself. The 4 floral names approved by security were missing from the delivery sheet, and none of the carts in the East Corridor carried the paper floor covers real florists always requested. Across the room, 6-year-old Lucy colored a crooked blue house at the staff table, while Maribel Ortiz folded guest towels. "You worry too much," Maribel murmured, kind rather than dismissive. "That's why things stay clean," Kate said, though her stomach had already tightened. She had spent 3 years saving tip money, holiday bonuses, and every careful dollar not swallowed by rent or Lucy's school shoes. If the numbers held, one more season at Rosati House could become a lease deposit for Marino Property Care, a business small enough to be hers and solid enough to protect her daughter. A wedding coordinator swept in, glanced at the clipboard, and said, "Leave security to the men upstairs, Kate. Just make the place pretty." Kate smiled the way employees smiled when pushing back costs too much. Then she crossed to the East Corridor, touched the bare wood where protective paper should have been taped, and saw pale flour dust caught in the baseboard groove. That decided her. She brought the ledger toward the main stair, and nearly collided with Ethan Rosati himself as he came out of his study without an escort. His eyes dropped once to the page in her hand. "Miss Marino," he said, "show me the corridor where the lilies came through." Until that moment, he had been a name attached to locked rooms, quiet men, and rumors. Now he stood close enough to prove her invisible life was over. Kate put the altered vendor sheet on Ethan's desk and told the most powerful man in the house that his security team was watching the wrong doors. Jonah Pike's expression hardened, but Ethan only looked at the 2 pages she had placed side by side. On one, 4 florists were cleared through security. On the other, the linen room ledger showed no floor covers, no water buckets, no staging cloths, nothing that belonged to floral work. "Your men checked who entered," Kate said. "I checked where their work should have left a trace." Ethan's gaze lifted to hers. Something in it changed. Not warmth, not yet, but attention without dismissal. "And what does that tell you?" "That someone wants the house to believe those people were here." Jonah folded his arms. "Or someone forgot paperwork." Kate met his eyes. "Then show me the mess they left." Ethan almost smiled. The objective became simple. Identify the false service route before the blessing tomorrow afternoon. Kate agreed to help, but only on one condition. Lucy stays out of this. No questions, no guards around her table, no one using her to get to me. Ethan answered. Agreed. Then he gave his own condition. You find something, you bring it to me. You don't hide evidence because you're afraid of what it means. Kate hesitated long enough for him to notice. Neither asked why. He unlocked a drawer and handed her the restricted wedding service schedule. Their fingers did not touch, but the care he took not to force the contact unsettled her, more than accidental closeness would have. She scanned the pages and stopped. White lilies, 12 arrangements, private order, no entry in the official wedding binder. Ethan leaned closer. Vanessa changed flowers. Maybe. Kate looked at the delivery code. But whoever placed this knew your internal service numbering. His face lost its amusement. Tomorrow's housekeeping sheet slid partly from beneath the folder. Kate pulled it free. At the bottom was a room marked for preparation. Old Chapel family office. According to every household record she had seen, that room had been unused for years. The first time Ethan followed Kate into a service corridor, she made him stop touching the walls. He reached for the brass plate beside the chapel passage, when Kate caught his wrist with 2 fingers. Don't. Jonah's attention sharpened. Kate released Ethan. If someone used this corridor recently, oil from a hand can smear the dust line. Housekeeping hasn't polished this section since the chapel office was closed. Ethan looked at the plate, then at her. So what do you want me to do? Nothing. Still he stepped back. Kate crouched beside the runner outside the old family office. The rug sat half an inch beyond the pale rectangle the Polish had protected around it for years. Someone had shifted it, then tried to put it back. Farther along, she found one faint scrape near the baseboard, too fresh to belong to the old wood. Jonah exhaled. Could be setup staff. Then they came through a room no setup staff were assigned to. Ethan's expression hardened. Check the access logs. After we photograph this, Kate said. Jonah glanced at Ethan. Ethan nodded toward Kate. Her order. By noon, the logs showed no authorized entry into the family office. That should have felt like victory. Instead, Kate sensed the house had remembered something its records had forgotten. They carried the files back through the staff kitchen, where Lucy's crayons still sat in a chipped ceramic mug. Kate stopped to move them away from the sink. Ethan noticed a folded lease estimate beneath her notebook. You're moving. No. He waited. Kate hated how easily silence became an answer around powerful men. I'm saving for a workspace. For what? My own property care business. He did not offer money. The absence surprised her enough to make her look up. I want something that can't disappear because one employer changes her mind about me, she said. For the first time, Ethan's face lost its polished control. My mother used to say a Rosati gift was rarely a gift. It came with a chair already chosen for you. Kate looked at him. Did she take the chair? She burned one. A laugh escaped her. Ethan smiled, small and unguarded. He reached across her for the chapel file, paused when he realized how close he had come, and withdrew his hand. Kate picked up the folder and placed it in his palm. The moment lasted a breath. But something had shifted. He had asked space from her without words. She had chosen to close it. Jonah broke the quiet when he entered with the verification sheets. There's another problem. Kate had access to every service record we're using. The warmth vanished. It was a fair accusation. That made it worse. Ethan did not defend her immediately. Kate straightened. Good. Verify me. She rebuilt her morning from supply signatures, laundry timestamps, Maribel's counter signatures, and the digital inventory scanner. Every hour connected. Every movement had a witness or record. By the end, Jonah looked less suspicious than impressed. Ethan gathered the staff supervisors near the service entrance. From now until the blessing, vendor access follows Marino's verification process, he said. Security clearance alone is not enough. Kate felt every nearby face register the change. Later, when her shift ended, Ethan returned the ledger to her. "You can go home." Kate looked toward the chapel corridor, then at the schedule still open between them. "I know." She stayed anyway. Neither of them mentioned the choice. As they left the corridor together, Vanessa appeared ahead carrying the sealed family paper case that protocol said should not leave storage until after the blessing. Kate had just decided she might trust Ethan when Vanessa's voice behind a half-closed door made her stop breathing. She had followed the family paper case, not Vanessa. Protocol required that sealed box to remain in storage until after the blessing. Yet Vanessa carried it into her suite and set it beside an open garment bag. Then a man's voice crackled through the phone. "After the blessing," Vanessa whispered. "He'll go to the old family office. The authorization will be there." Kate's stomach tightened. White lilies. The family office. The private order. The details snapped together. A floorboard creaked beneath Kate's shoe. Vanessa turned. For 1 second, neither woman moved. Then Vanessa crossed the room and knocked the tea tray from Kate's hands. Porcelain exploded across the marble. "You should have learned what staff survive by not hearing." Kate backed toward the door. "If Reed Kessler is using the wedding, Ethan needs to know." Vanessa's face changed. Fear came first, then cruelty. She seized Kate's wrist and poured the water pitcher over her uniform. "Say his name again and your daughter disappears before you reach the gate. Don't bring Lucy into this." A small gasp sounded from the hall. Lucy stood beside the broken tray. Vanessa looked at her. Kate moved between them. Lucy ran. By the time Ethan entered the suite with white roses in one hand, Kate was on her knees, soaked and gripping her bruised wrist, while Vanessa accused her of theft. The scene from the front hall caught up with them all at once. Kate told Ethan about Reed, the lilies, the early family papers, and the office. Vanessa denied everything until a bronze key tied with white thread slipped from her sleeve and struck the marble. Ethan stared at it. Kate knew that look now. He was not deciding whether she was valuable. He was deciding whether he trusted her enough to risk being wrong. He turned to Jonah. "Every wedding service entry goes through Kate." Vanessa recoiled. "You're giving a maid authority over your security?" "No," Ethan said. "I'm giving authority to the person who found the breach." Before she left, Ethan reached toward her bruised wrist, stopped, and waited. Kate nodded once. Then, without asking Kate, he ordered guards around her and Lucy, and had them moved into the guest wing. The trust he had just given her became the first thing he took away. Safety became a cage the moment Kate learned Ethan had decided where Lucy would sleep before bothering to ask her mother. 2 guards stood outside the blue guest room. Another waited near the stairs. Lucy sat on the bed with Maribel, drawing circles around a crooked house, while Kate stared at the locked service door. "You moved us," Kate said when Ethan arrived. "I moved you away from Vanessa. You decided for me. Reed Kessler is active. Vanessa compromised the estate. I had minutes." Kate's bruised wrist throbbed as if her body remembered every employer who had called control a favor. "Guards may be necessary. That doesn't make every decision yours." His expression tightened. "I'm trying to keep you alive. And I'm trying to keep Lucy from learning that safety means armed men choosing where her mother is allowed to stand." The words struck harder, because Ethan understood them. Still he answered badly. "Until this is over, I can't risk you leaving unprotected. Kate looked at him. You can't risk it, or you won't allow it! Silence became the answer. When Maribel brought Kate a dry dress, Kate changed in the adjoining washroom and found something heavy in the pocket. The bronze chapel key, still tied with white thread. Her first instinct was to call Ethan. Then she remembered the guards. She closed her fist around it. That was her mistake. She wanted one decision that still belonged entirely to her alone, even if fear was the reason she guarded it so fiercely now. Kate left with Lucy before sunset. Ethan did not stop her at the door, but an hour later she noticed the same dark sedan, twice outside the temporary apartment Maribel had helped arrange. She called him. You followed us. I kept distance. You hid it. Kate, you promised Lucy stayed outside this. I promised she wouldn't be used. You're using danger to rewrite the promise. She ended the call before he could answer. By morning, the punishment arrived from another direction. A society blog claimed Kate had been caught inside Vanessa's room near missing jewelry and had manipulated Ethan through her daughter. By afternoon, the story reached Lucy's school. What does thief mean? Lucy asked at the kitchen table. Kate stopped breathing. Her daughter held a red crayon between both hands. A lady said I shouldn't bring my colors near her purse. Kate crouched and pulled Lucy close. Rage came first. Shame tried to follow. She refused it. No, Kate said softly. We are not hiding from someone else's lie. She finally looked at the bronze key on the counter and understood the other truth. Keeping it had not protected her independence. It had protected Reed's timeline. Across town, Ethan ordered Jonah to identify every person spreading the accusation. Jonah reached for his phone. Don't. Kate stood in the study doorway. Lucy, safe with Maribel downstairs, the bronze key clenched in her hand. I came back to stop you from winning the wrong battle for me. Kate returned to Ethan's house for one reason: to stop him from winning the wrong battle for her. Jonah lowered his phone. Ethan looked at the bronze key in her hand. If you bury everyone spreading the rumor, Kate said, they'll believe fear proved me innocent. His voice stayed quiet. They used Lucy. I know, and you used danger to make decisions for us. The words landed cleanly. Ethan looked away first. I told myself urgency made it necessary. It didn't. No, he faced her again. Protecting you did not give me ownership of the choice. Kate tightened her fingers around the key. I kept this because I wanted one thing you couldn't take over. That was wrong too. It cost us time. They made the rule together. No hidden decision affecting Kate or Lucy unless seconds truly mattered, and no operational evidence withheld simply to preserve distance. Then Kate asked for something harder than revenge. A formal inquiry. By afternoon, Vanessa stood before legal witnesses, senior household staff, Maribel, Jonah, and Kate. Ethan remained near the staircase and said nothing. Vanessa denied everything until Kate placed the service ledger, wedding binder, and photographs of her bruised wrist on the table. Did I steal from you? Vanessa's composure broke. No. Did you threaten my daughter? Yes. And Reed Kessler? Vanessa closed her eyes. He is still my husband. I gave him wedding access. Jonah's phone vibrated. The floral vans are stopped. White lilies. 4 men in custody. Relief weakened Kate's knees. Later, she found Ethan alone upstairs and placed the bronze key in his palm. Don't make me regret it. I won't decide that for you. Do you want me to stay? He asked. Kate answered by stepping closer. Their first kiss was brief, careful, entirely chosen. Then Kate saw the housekeeping timeline on the desk. Her breath caught. The runner was moved before those vans ever left the warehouse. The vans were stopped, Vanessa had confessed, and Kate could still prove someone entered the chapel before either victory happened. She spread the housekeeping timeline across Ethan's desk and pointed to the runner photograph. This was moved at 9:12. Jonah checked the interception report. The florist vans left their warehouse at 11:40. Ethan looked at Kate. So the vans were never the entry. They were part of it, just not the beginning. Kate set the bronze key beside the photograph. White thread still looped through its bow. Vanessa had carried the original, but the old sacristy lock showed none of the scratches a stolen key should have made during a rushed entry. "Someone copied it," Kate said, "then put the original back into circulation so we would think possession mattered more than timing." She pulled the family paper delivery receipt closer. The sealed case had reached the estate hours earlier than protocol required. The pattern changed shape. Reed did not need Ethan dead. He needed Ethan inside the old family office with documents tied to Rosati Port Authority while security chased a visible threat outside. Vanessa had helped him. She simply had not known the whole plan. Kate felt the old impulse to solve one more step alone and killed it before it could grow. "Reed is already inside the chapel." Ethan did not order her away. He did not take the papers from her hands. "What do you need from me?" The question steadied something deeper than fear. "Jonah, the service maps, and everyone follows the route I give them." Ethan nodded once. "Done." Minutes later, they reached the chapel grounds. Every exterior light was dark, except one. A thin bar of gold burned beneath the old family office door. Someone was waiting where no one should have been. Ethan could save his secret port route or save the trust Kate had just returned to him. But Reed Kessler had designed the chapel, so he could not keep both. Kate studied the service map beneath the chapel's emergency light. "Reed expects your men to come through the nave and west entrance. Don't." Jonah frowned. "That leaves the laundry passage." "Exactly. Staff use it because guests never see it." Kate traced a narrow line toward the sacristy. "Move the workers out through here, one group at a time. No running, no radios where his people can hear them." Ethan watched her finger stop near the family office. "And you? At the service junction. I need to see when the last worker clears." "No!" Kate looked up. His refusal came from fear, but this time he corrected himself before fear became command. "Tell me why you need to be there." "Because Jonah won't know whether the corridor is empty from the security feed. I will." Ethan held her gaze, then nodded. "What protection do you want?" "2 men outside my line of sight, not beside me." "Done." That single word felt different now. When Ethan suggested she stay behind, Kate shook her head. "I'm not proving trust by becoming reckless, and I'm not proving love by disappearing from the plan. I stay where my work matters, with the protection we agreed on." He accepted that without argument. Inside the family office, Reed waited behind Ethan's grandfather's desk with transfer papers spread before him. 2 armed men guarded the rear passage. "You came," Reed said. Ethan closed the door behind him. "You wanted my signature." "I want what you stole from me. South freight access, customs influence, and the corridor your respectable company pretends not to own." Outside, Kate watched the final catering worker disappear through the laundry passage. She touched Jonah's sleeve. Now, Rosati men shifted silently through the route she had mapped. Reed smiled at Ethan. "You won't expose that corridor. Too much money, too many officials. Men like you choose power before people." His gaze flicked toward the service wall. "Even when the person is only a housekeeper." Ethan's expression went still. Then he took out his phone. "Release the corridor files." Reed's smile vanished. Jonah's voice came through the line. "To investigators." "All of it." The decision burned millions of dollars, political protection, and years of secrecy in less than 10 seconds. "You'd destroy your own leverage for her?" Reed demanded. "No," Ethan said. "I'm destroying yours." Reed lunged for the rear passage. Kate saw the shadow move beneath the service door. "Close it!" Jonah's team sealed the corridor exactly as planned. Reed collided with armed resistance where he expected invisibility. The fight lasted seconds. When Reed was forced to his knees, Ethan did not look triumphant. He looked toward the service junction. Kate was still there, safe, standing by choice. Only then did she understand what he had surrendered before knowing whether she would ever choose him. When the danger ended, Kate discovered Ethan had learned to offer protection with an exit attached. Reed was taken into custody before dawn, but the price remained after the chapel emptied. The Rosati freight corridor was frozen. 2 allies walked away, and Jonah estimated the lost influence in numbers that made Kate uncomfortable. Ethan never mentioned regret. Instead, he brought Kate every security concern and asked one question. "What do you want?" "No permanent guard outside Lucy's home. 1 emergency contact. If the threat changes, tell me before you change my life. You have my word." Kate believed him because he had paid for that promise. She returned to work while the investigation moved beyond her. Maribel helped her gather references from properties Kate had maintained. Ethan offered none. He understood that helping without being asked could turn generosity into pressure. 3 months later, Kate signed the lease on a storefront with cracked tile, good light, and room for 2 desks. Merino Property Care appeared on the glass. She paid for every letter herself. Ethan came by after closing, carrying coffee, not contracts. He stopped at the threshold until she looked up. "You can come in." His smile was almost shy. They sat on the floor because her chairs had not arrived. Lucy was spending the evening with Maribel, and for once there was no deadline, no armed man outside, no clue beneath a rug. "I need to say something," Kate told him. "I was wrong too." He waited. "I kept thinking independence meant never needing anyone. It doesn't. It means I decide what help looks like." Ethan reached for her hand, then stopped. Kate closed the distance herself. "I don't want to build your life for you," he said. "I want to know if there's room in it for me." She could have said no. Her business would remain hers. Her home would remain hers. Lucy would remain safe. That was why yes finally meant something. "There's room," Kate whispered. Later, Lucy gave Ethan a drawing made after the worst night of their lives. A crooked house, Kate and Lucy inside, and a tall man waiting outside the door. Months later, Ethan still knocked twice before entering Kate's office, even when she had left the door open. Merino Property Care had 3 employees, 6 regular clients, and 1 stubborn printer. Kate threatened daily. Lucy's greatest crisis was whether Sunday dinner could happen early enough for her science project. Ethan leaned against the doorway. 5 or 6. Kate looked over her invoices. 5:30. He nodded. "Your schedule wins." "That isn't how partnership works." "Fine, our schedule wins." She smiled and waved him inside. In Ethan's study, Lucy's drawing hung framed above the desk. A crooked house, 2 figures inside, 1 tall man waiting beyond the door. Kate's phone buzzed with a client message. Ethan glanced toward it, back at her. "Do you need to go?" Kate checked the screen. "No, it can wait." So did he. And when she reached for his hand, neither of them mistook choice for permission. Kate's journey was never about becoming worthy of love. She was already capable, observant, devoted, and brave enough to speak when silence would have been safer. What changed was her willingness to claim authority over her life. Ethan changed differently. He began believing protection meant controlling every variable, But loving Kate forced him to understand that trust without autonomy is only a softer form of possession. Their partnership became possible when both stopped using fear as an excuse. Kate stopped hiding truths to preserve distance, and Ethan stopped making decisions for people he wanted to protect. That lesson reaches beyond romance. Healthy love does not erase independence. It creates room for two people to choose each other repeatedly. What matters more to you in a relationship, feeling protected or feeling free? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more Mafia boss romance stories about courage, trust, partnership, and love chosen. End of script. Sweet dreams.